Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Well, Tom Rowland, welcome back to the Woman Angler and Adventurer Podcast. I'm happy to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to have you on to talk about a cool thing you're doing this year. Now, I know you've done this 10,000 push-up challenge in the past. Was last year the first year, or have you done it for several years now?
I think it's been going for about 4 years.
Okay.
As far as what I've been doing. Then I did it previous to that. I had done it myself, a few years before that. So it's not really new. It's been around, and I just kind of have adopted it to be something that the people that listen to my podcast kind of wanted to do, and then this year I added a little different spin to it. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you about that. Yeah, this is a great time of year to do something like this, obviously, because going into the new year, everybody's kind of focused on fitness and getting back into shape, and so this challenge actually you can sign up for it now, but it actually kicks off on February 1st. So I want to talk about the new aspect that you've incorporated into it this year. But before we get into that, just, if somebody wants to do a challenge like this, what are a few things that you could do starting now to kind of prepare yourself?
Well, there's certainly, excuse me, certainly there's physical preparation, and then there's like mental preparation, two kind of different things. So maybe the mental preparation is even more important for this, or a marathon, or a 5K, or anything, the New Year's resolution, like going back to the gym, like I'm going to work out 3 days a week, and or whatever your New Year's resolution is. It seems like if there's a reason, like a compelling reason why, that, just kind of the resolution gets you through the month of January and maybe into the month of February. But a lot of resolutions fail, right? Like people, that's why gyms stay in business, because if everybody that was signed up for 24-hour fitness showed up at the same time, there wouldn't be enough equipment or room for everybody, so they count on that.
Right.
But if you kind of prepare for any of these things mentally, like if there is that compelling reason, on the days when it gets harder and you don't really want to do it, which will happen, that's kind of what pushes you through. You have that reason that is driving you, and so that's kind of the mental preparation. The physical preparation, certainly, 10,000 push-ups is 333 push-ups a day for 30 days and thereabouts. And, if you haven't been doing push-ups, to just expect your body to do 333 a day, day after day, might not be all that comfortable. So that's one of the reasons why I started the sign up in January, and for the contest or the challenge to begin in February, so that people would have a little bit of a kind of ramp up. And I think it would start with just doing a few push-ups here and there, the amount that you're comfortable with, and then each day just kind of adding a few more. And I've gone over several different programs that I've used in the past to increase the push-up numbers, and I've done those on my podcast. Those type of programs that will increase push-up numbers, that's certainly a good thing to do as well. But you just want to be kind of ready for it, and then you just this year there's a team aspect. So if you just think 333 is way too many, if you have 2 people on your team, it's half that many. If you have 4 people, it's half again that, and you can get it to where it is a doable number for wherever you are right now. And then there's the reason why, which we can go into whenever you're ready.
Let's absolutely talk about that. So speaking of compelling reasons, I mean, this year it's all about getting awareness out and getting people on board to support Captains for Clean Waters, and talk a little bit about that organization for people who aren't familiar with them and what they're all about.
Sure. You know, in the state of Florida, we have some issues that have affected the waters on both sides of the state of Florida and to the south for the Everglades. So there are a group of fishing guides. Daniel Andrews is one of them. Chris Whitman is another, that were fishing guides kind of around the Caloosahatchee River area. There were these algae blooms that were happening and all kinds of water issues stemming from the water that was being let out of Lake Okeechobee, and it would go over and enter the Gulf of Mexico. And when it would hit that warm salt water, all the nutrients in that water would help to create an algae bloom that was completely unnatural and unprecedented, and also, you know, killed a ton of fish and just made the water kind of yucky, not really what they wanted. And so they just kind of waited around for anybody to do anything, and it didn't seem like anybody was going to do anything, or anybody knew what to do, or there was no leadership anywhere. So those guys kind of took it upon themselves to just say, well, you know, it seems like there could be some solutions here, and we're going to really work towards those solutions. And that was the beginning of Captains for Clean Water. And it's an organization that is a real grassroots organization started by fishing guides, but it's certainly by no means supported only by fishing guides now. It's supported by everyone who has any interest in the state of Florida as far as their water goes. So realtors, restaurant owners, Disney World, I mean, everybody. Like if the water in Florida is yucky and there's dead fish on the beach, you know, people don't really want to go. If it's like that, the fishing guides certainly suffer. If it's like that, you know, all the other things suffer too. The property values in Florida go down. Everything goes down. So they've been able to kind of unite all these people to understand that this isn't a fishing problem. This is an everything problem. And they've really done it in a way that they're very solution oriented. So instead of a lot of people that are really mad about these problems, when you have a bunch of dead fish on the beach and you have, you know, your livelihood is in danger in whatever aspect of that there is, you know, a lot of people tend to start pointing the finger and yelling and screaming and being really upset, which are very justified doing that. One of the things that I noticed about Captains for Clean Water right away is that they're very interested in solutions, and they're very interested in education, and they're very interested in uniting all the people that have any interest in water, right? It's not political. It's not fishing oriented. It's not, it's everyone, right? Like everyone that has anything to do with water or any sort of interest in water, even if it's just that you want your grandchildren to be able to come down here and see the Everglades like we're able to right now, or better, even better than what we're able to. So they've been able to do that by looking for solutions and remaining very positive and really uniting people. And they've done some incredible work so far, and there's lots more work to do.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. They've not been around a super long time, but they've really done a lot of great work in since they've started, and have really grown the organization, and that's great to see. One of the questions I was going to ask is, obviously this podcast, it's worldwide basically, but if somebody watching this is in Minnesota, like, why should they care about Captains for Clean Water?
That's an excellent question, because I think the state of Florida is an economic powerhouse for the entire country. If the tourism dollars go down in the state of Florida, sooner or later it's going to affect everyone in the country in some way, shape, or form that may not be. I may not be able to explain it, but if people aren't vacationing there like they are right now, I don't know, maybe they choose to spend their money elsewhere. The other reason that I think that someone from another state would be interested in this is that it's just a great example of what you can do when you see a problem in your backyard and you can actually take action and fix it. Captains for Clean Water right now has their hands full with what's going on in the state of Florida. But I see in the future that maybe they could expand out and try to help other states and other water issues. Certainly, if the state of, I don't know, Michigan or somewhere like that has a water problem associated with the Great Lakes, they might be able to look to the work that Captains for Clean Water has done and then either consult those guys or just follow suit and do something similar that is very effective. So I think that, if you've maybe you just have a desire, like maybe a tarpon is your absolute, dream fish, right? Well, might not happen this year, it might not happen next year, but one day you're gonna try to catch a tarpon or a bonefish or a redfish, or maybe you just always wanted to see the Everglades. If that's on the bucket list, it's important for all of us to at least show the representation that we're interested in this. And this little challenge is one way that you can do that.
Yeah, I love that you came up with this idea to partner up with them this year to help spread awareness. Signing up is really simple. I signed up myself last night.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's
Good.
literally,
That's awesome.
literally, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to do it. And I mean, literally all I had to do was enter my email address. I mean, can't get any easier than that.
Well, that's really important because in the past, I haven't required anyone to sign up to do anything. It's been really this physical challenge that's a very personal thing. Maybe you got a certificate. A lot of the people that did the challenge, they weren't even interested in the certificate. They were like, look, I did it for my own reasons. I don't need that. And those guys and girls and people are certainly welcome to come back and do this as a physical challenge for themselves, and it might have nothing to do with water. That's fine. Everybody's invited, but as we're just kind of trying to include more people this year because there's plenty of people that don't want to do. I mean, the most common thing that people say to me is 10,000 push-ups. I've never done 10,000 push-ups in my whole life. You want me to do them in a month, right? So there's tons of people out there like that. But the whole idea, behind this challenge is exactly that 10,000 push-ups seems like a lot of push-ups, and it is a lot of push-ups. But and it might very well be out of someone's physical ability right now. Well, the water issues are much the same as that. The water issues seem daunting and huge. And how could any one person change the course of what's been going on for a long time? And it's very much the same as this kind of little challenge, is that these 10,000 push-ups, that is a daunting, giant number. But if you put together a team and everybody does small actions every day, it's really not that much. And you can accomplish that. And if you, it's the same thing with the water issues, that if we can kind of band together and do small actions when necessary, big things can happen. And that's really why it's so important to register this year, because that email address puts you in the Captains for Clean Water database so that you can receive educational information. You can receive information on when it's time to write a letter to your congressman and tell them that this is something that you're interested in. And they make it incredibly easy. I mean, if you thought it was easy to register for the challenge, it's so easy to take action when necessary. They will have a pre-written email that will, state what we're trying to accomplish. You put in your zip code. It tells you, it populates who your congressman or senator or whoever you're trying to send this to. It automatically populates that, and you hit send, and it sends to your representation. So you don't have to, mail anything. You don't have to do anything. It's just literally showing your support for this objective for clean water. And so that's why it's so important to register this year, is that like, if we can band together, that's one thing, but if we can take action at key times, that's really where the rubber meets the road on actually doing something.
Yeah, I love the analogy between the push-up challenge and the work that Captains for Clean Water are doing, and if anyone wonders, I mean, it does make a difference. I think they just had a win on something to do with Lake Okeechobee recently,
Mm-hmm.
and so all this stuff it adds up, and we're better, we're stronger together. So the more people that get on board and show their support, the bigger impact we're going to have. So that's great.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So when you've done this in the past, have there been any like kind of results at the end of this challenge that somebody's experienced after doing 10,000 push-ups in a month?
Yeah. I've gotten lots of messages and email and even pictures. I've gotten pictures from people that, they took a picture when they started, and this is goes back to kind of the physical thing and why we do it in the month of February, is that everybody, like you were saying, everybody's kind of excited about, starting this year fresh and doing something different, or getting, looking for some sort of a reason to get in shape or whatever. And for some people, this has been a really good reason for that. And I've had people start the challenge and finish the challenge and literally look like two different people. I mean, it's crazy because I don't know, physical stuff like this, like it's almost like, when you start making a little bit of progress, you get excited about that progress and then you want to make more progress. So, some people have, and not just with this challenge, but with anything. Say you want to run a 5K or whatever, and you start running a little bit, and at first it's really painful and not much fun. And then one day it's, you start noticing, oh, my clothes are fitting a little bit better, and I'm sleeping better, and I feel better. And then it's like, well, I wonder how would happen if I drank more water, and I wonder what would happen if I, if I started stretching a little bit more, and wonder what would happen if I started eating a little bit better. And so these little things kind of build upon another one, and you're just kind of like wanting to add these other things to the routine. And the next thing you know, by the end of the 30 days, you're eating differently, you're sleeping differently, you're drinking more water than you were before. And all of those things, plus the push-ups or plus the running or plus whatever, going to the gym or whatever it is that you're doing, now your lifestyle is completely different than it was at the beginning of the month. And so you'll see people that will have, really big changes if something like that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Other people just, it's a mental win that they didn't think they could do it, and they did. And, maybe even at times, it looked like, wow, at this pace, I'm not going to finish, at the end of the month. And then they have a couple of big days, get caught back up, and next thing you know, they finish early. And that's fine too. Like we have this little spreadsheet that my friend came up with, and it shows you at the very beginning, it'd just be 333 every day. But let's just say you did 500 one day. Well, then all the numbers would be reconfigured to this is how many you need to do tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And at this pace, you're going to be finished on the 26th of the month. And then all of a sudden you look at your sheet and you've been entering it all in and you're like, wow, at this pace, I'm going to be finished on the 20th. Like I'm really way ahead. And I think that sheet kind of helps a lot. And you can get that on the website, but it kind of helps to show where you are, and with a little bit more work, you can finish early, if you want, or take a break and, have 2 or 3 days off and then, get back to it.
Yeah, or get your friends involved, as you mentioned. This can be a team challenge as well. So, what's the easiest way for somebody to get signed up?
The easiest way is to go to Tom Rowland Podcast. So my last name is ROWLAND. So TOMROWLAND podcast.com/pushups. Or if you just go to TomRowlandPodcast.com, there's a big button right on the front, because that's why most people are going to that website right now, is to sign up for that. So you can hit that, sign up for the 10,000 push-up challenge right away. Just ask for your first and last name and your email, and you're signed up. You'll get an automatic response right away that kind of gives you some ideas about what to expect. And as we get a little bit closer, there'll be some other sent sent to you about the challenge, and then it's good to go. You just
All right.
start doing push-ups.
Game
um,
on.
yeah, and hopefully people will share, because that's kind of what this is all about. There's a couple of differences again with the team thing, and even if you're trying to take it on individually, and you kind of have a day where, wow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my 333, and somebody says, why are you doing so many push-ups? Well, that's the opportunity here also, is to bring someone in that they don't have to be on your team. Or maybe you have a team of 5 and you're doing these at work, and somebody says, man, why are you doing so many push-ups? Well, that's the opportunity for a conversation starter about Captains for Clean Water and what they're doing and the Florida water issues. And if someone's interested, that's a good opportunity to talk to them about it. And maybe they want to now join the team, and that's fine. You could start out with 2 people and end up with 30. That's fine. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's all about participation this year, all about kind of awareness and driving that education. So you can ask people to help you anytime.
That's great. Well, what do you got coming up this year in 2022 beyond the push-up challenge?
Oh, well, we've got 3 shows we're produced. So one that on is Saltwater Experience. Then we also have another show that we produce called Into the Blue, and we have a bass fishing show called Sweetwater. So those keep me pretty busy, going to those shoots and producing those. We have some great shows already filmed for 2022, but we still have some that we need to finish. Some years we get way ahead and don't. Some years we would be finished filming for 2022 by now. Other years I like to wait, really. I'd rather film some shows later, like some spring shows for tarpon and permit and bonefish, and the fish that are really kind of around in the spring, and not film all the shows in advance. That's what I would prefer. But some years we do, and when you get finished early, you don't have to worry about hurricanes, and you don't have to worry about bad weather or anything like that. So you can operate at a little more leisurely pace. But then other years, like when we do have those hurricanes, or we do have whatever is the issue that makes it very difficult to film, maybe it's just bad weather, just bad luck and bad weather, then you kind of get under the gun, and you'll have to film all the shows kind of right at the end. So those are kind of the key agendas. We got a lot of work that we do with Waypoint, and Waypoint's doing extremely well this year. And the podcast, I'm really excited about the podcast this year. I've had some really great guests already, and just kind of trying to incorporate more feedback from the audience, like what people want to see and who they want to see on the show, and what they want to learn from the show, and then try to deliver that to the best of our ability. And that's cool, because a lot of people are listening to podcasts. I mean, your podcast is gaining in popularity all the time, and you got your cool. You do, by the way, have the coolest rig of anyone. I have wanted that rig probably for 30 years. I saw a pickup truck camper with this guy. He had a pickup truck camper, he had a motorcycle in the front of his pickup truck, and a drift boat behind. And I was like, man, that is the ultimate, because you could go to a river, you could run your own shuttle, you could fish anywhere, and then live right there in the truck. It was so cool. So, man, you've got it going on. That's really nice.
I love it. We love our Lance truck camper, and it's the way to go especially if you're a tournament angler like I am, to be able to pull your boat and have somewhere to stay, and be off grid if you need to be. We like to go to campgrounds and stuff, but if we ever have to, we can. We get the generator and all that on board. So definitely love it. I encourage anybody to go that route if you're thinking about it, because it's just a little bit of a learning curve. Learning how to load and unload it and all that from the truck, but I think we've got that down pretty good now. Pretty comfortable with all that. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Well, great. Well, I'll put a link to your website and where people can go to sign up for the challenge in the show notes for this episode,
Okay.
and links to all your other shows and waypoints so people can check all that out. I saw that Black Rifle Coffee has come on board
They
as a
do.
title sponsor for you for
Mhm.
your podcast this year, so that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm real
And
excited about that. I love coffee.
yeah,
And
me
it's the
too.
best coffee too. So it's perfect for me because
Yeah,
it's my favorite thing to do, is sit around, talk, and drink coffee. And so it sounds like that's the deal.
yeah,
That's what I'm supposed to do.
absolutely. All right. Well, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. I look forward to
Thank you.
doing this challenge, and I can't wait for the end of the month to see how it all goes.
That's awesome. And if anybody had any questions or concerns or I don't know, whatever, they could just send me an email at podcast@saltwaterexperience.com. If you have any questions about the challenge or wondering about, I don't know, any of it, that'd be the best way to get in touch with me, probably.
Great. All right. Well, thanks again.
All right. Thank you for having me. Good luck in the challenge.
Thank you.